Hello everybody, here is Erica from GORS Global in Oslo. Here is our first GORS Day on a Wednesday, the first webinar we did talking about how to make dashboards inside GORS. This first session we had actually covered the main goal we had. It was to show you how to create your own dashboard inside GORS to help you monitoring data. To do it so, we had to use pivot tables. So you had a basic introduction to pivot tables. You learn how to create and modify charts and maps, and how to import tables, charts, and maps to your dashboard. And once you did that, the rest it was just to play around it and have some fun. So let's just start with the webinar, and thank you very much for participating or for watching it now. And please send me your feedback so we can improve for the next GORS Day on a Wednesday in September. So let's get started. So I will start again, and the first thing I would like is to show you the Global Help Desk, because this page will have a lot of resources that will help you learning how to use GORS. So the first thing here on the top menu, you have a small tutorial that if you click here, will show you how to use the Global Help Desk. There are short videos, 2 minutes each one. Here there are the link for the other parts of the help desk if you want to see how is the best way of using it. The other thing I showed already is that we have here all the events and trainings that we are having that is related to GORS, and also some deadlines that you need to be aware. If you click on the event, you will have the direct link to the Zoom room we'll be using. So then you can just click and join if you feel like, and if the theme that is proposed by users is not interesting for you, you don't need to join. It's an informal session that we'll be doing once per month. If people got really interested, if you want more, then we can discuss and maybe make it twice per month. Here on the page, we have the learning resources that you can access by clicking on this pretty orange thing here, or on the top, learning resources. Here is 2 parts, it will become 3. So at the present, we have tutorials, we have user manuals, and I will add webinars. For the tutorials now, I only have for those that create that data set in GORS. A data set actually will be creating a data entry form. And this is the tutorial on how to create a data entry form. They will have always a short video, about 2 minutes each. And here I have all the explanation, and I have the screenshots and everything. You can go step by step. If you forgot something and you just want to remember detail, you can go direct in the step you are working on, watch the video, or look in the screenshot to see what is or how is the best way to do things. In the learning resources also, you have here all the manuals that we are developing, and we'll be developing much more manuals in the future. So here we have our first French version on how to create data sets. We have the English version, and we have other guidances that here now we'll be using actually to learn how to create dashboards. So here is a quick cheat sheet to help you to create the data set, the dashboard inside GORS. So after this session, if you forgot anything, you can have a look here, and you have all the explanation with actually is what I used to learn. So it show you each part of the dashboard, what it do and how it will help you to create your dashboard inside GORS. So it will be good to help you remembering everything that we are talking here. Another resource here that you should maybe use will be how to use pivot table. That is using pivot table in GORS is also, well, it's 11 pages, but it's because there's lots of screenshots, okay? The text is just a little bit, and I put all the screenshots from the beginning It will have everything I will be showing you, but then here you can see in your own speed how you use the pivot table with explanation, details, and what you should be careful about. This said, just go have a look. We are also developing answering questions that most frequently asked questions. I have one. Yesterday I received more too. And you can add a comment with your question and then help me creating the frequent asked questions in GORS. This will be a common work. I count with your help to do that. Now let's talk about what you really want to do, that is GORS. So I have created a profile here. I am in Iraq because I want to show the perspective of the country office. So when you enter in GORS, the first thing you see is this dashboard that is a default produced one that will be showing the beneficiaries for your country office. So like I told you, I'm in Iraq. This is a standard one showing some the beneficiaries by project, by core competency, and you have the possibility of creating your own. So what we'll be doing today, we'll be creating our own dashboards inside GORS. This will help you do your work and check the data. To create a dashboard, first you need to create tables because you need to decide what you want to view, which data you want to see in your own dashboard. And here we do by going in search apps and search by pivot table, or you can write pivot table if you want, and then it will filter, or you can just go and click direct on the pivot table app. Once you click on the pivot table app, you will see this. It doesn't look really user friendly, but when you have some tips, you'll see that you can use it quite good. Inside GORS, everything is explained in the user manual. We call indicators refer to outcome, and data elements are outputs. The system is set like this, and sorry, this we have to accept. I cannot help too much. When you choose data elements, you can have access to outputs, outcomes that are, this was outcomes for country level indicators, and you can have a direct access for different groups. So if I want camp management, I could click on camp management. The other possibility is to click on output and choose the indicators I want to see. So here, for example, we have some global donor indicators. The third letter will be the core competency, and then come the code and the description. You can use the filter by clicking here, and then you can filter by code if you have the code. You can filter if you want only education, if you want only the mandatory indicators, for example, for education. That is the one I will use in this example. You can use also to see the total number of unique beneficiaries. So while you having the code, you can filter here. So I will start by choosing the total number of unique beneficiaries. So I know the code is GL, then the letter of the core competency, and then X1. So I enter X1 here, and I have them all for each core competency, and I have also the total direct beneficiaries. So I can select by selecting one by one and passing. I can use my control key and select everything and pass, but I want actually only those per core competency. Let's say I don't want now the total unique beneficiaries. If I double click, it will move, or I can just select and use the arrows to move back. Once you select the indicators you want to see, you need to select the period. By default, it will be the last 4 quarters. In my case, you can choose what you want to see. So this will be an individual choice. You can choose the last 4 quarters, or you can choose last year, last 5 years. For this presentation, I will choose this year. If you don't unclick here, you will have the 2 periods and it gets messy. Another possibility you can have, instead of using this selection pane, you can come here, select period type. Okay. Oh, I want monthly. Unfortunately, we cannot have it pre-made for the triennial report. So the only way we can is by doing monthly. So if you want this data for the triennial report, you need to choose the data monthly. And then you see that we have month by month in 2019. So let's say I want T1 and T2. That would be the T1 would be from January to April and T2 from May to August. So I can select one by one, or I click on August, I hold Shift and I click on January. So I selected everything and I click here. So GORS will be giving me data from January 2019 to August 2019, month by month. For the organization unit, you see I was in Iraq. So here, if I select Iraq, will be the full country. Another way to select also is to click on this setting here, in the setting button, and select levels. This is my preferred one, actually. When you click on select levels, it opens this small menu. You can choose. As an Iraq officer, I don't have access to MRC. I don't have access to middle region, but I have access or to the country level data, or to the area officer data, or the facility level. You can see that when I click on those, it becomes gray. And here you can read country, area, facility level. It means that the data will appear in the 3 levels. So the totals will be adding up. If you want only on the office level, that we call facility level in GORS, you can unclick area and country, and then you have the offices direct the level. Doing this and clicking on the country office, it means that it will be selecting, for example, will be selecting Anbar office, Baghdad office, Erbil office. So we'll go really on the office level, giving me the data. Sometimes when we do the quality check, I will take the data at the country level. I will not take on the office level, and GORS will add up and aggregate this data for me. After you choose where is the data you're looking for, then this one is really important. You need to choose if you want actual or target or both. If you don't select here, GORS will add actual plus target, and your data will be wrong because we cannot even see it will be double because the target and actuals there normally are different. So it's really important to not forget this step. You see a warning system, a warning sign in the user manual. Once you select actual and target, you have the basic components. You can add, if you want, disaggregations. Here are all these different disaggregations we have. You can add the project number if you want to go in project. You can choose the projects you want to. So here I'm in Iraq, I have all Iraq projects that are in GORS. If I need to see the data by project. If I want to see disaggregation by gender, I can click here. I can choose, I can see only the female data, only the male data. If I don't choose the disaggregation, we'll add male and female. I can go for displacement status, and then I can decide, maybe I want to see data only on refugee, then I can choose only refugee. If I don't choose a disaggregation here, it will show me the data aggregator, so we will add up all the categories where data was entered. I will start with a simple one going on until actuals and targets, and then we can add the things while we are going. I can click on update, or I can work a bit on the layout and options. If we open the layout, here you'll see how the table will appear. So report and filter will be on the top, and in this case I have an organization unit is on the report and filter. It means that it will add up the data for each one of the offices. It will be given the country data actually, because it will be adding up. But I choose it to be different offices because I want to see the data in the office. So I have to move it. I can move it to see in rows. So you have Erbil, Baghdad, each one of the offices in different rows. or I can have it in columns. Then I would move in columns. So I would have Erbil, Baghdad in different columns. I find it easier to see in rows, but we can do both. I will start doing by rows. The data, I choose the data on the first one, and I know I have 6 indicators. If it appears on the columns, will be camp management total beneficiaries, education total beneficiaries, etc. One column per indicator. If I put in rows, we will have January 2019, the organization unit, and then the camp management indicators. At the moment, I will leave like this, just so then you can see both, okay? When I click on update here, I have each month, the different offices, and here the indicators that were reported. There are some empty rows. You can see that there is no data entered. So if I want to make my table a bit lighter, I can come on options, click on options, and I can hide empty rows. When I do that, all empty rows were hidden. So here, the Kirkuk office has some data on the shelter total beneficiaries, so it's still appearing. But those that had no data, they disappear from my table and it got a bit lighter. Another way of doing it would be coming in the layout. Like I said, I put the data. These are the indicators. By default, go for column. If you're looking all education indicators, will be lots of columns, for example. But if you move it here, then it will appear as a line. So then I will have the period first, organization unit, and then the indicators. So let's see how it looks. Voila, it looks much more organized here. So here we can see by different offices, different months, the indicators, what was actual entered and target entered. This total, actually, you cannot consider because it's adding actual and target, because the system is set like this, and we just adapted it to GORS. How you get rid of it? So you go on options, you have here, show column totals, show row totals, column subtotals, row subtotals. If you take out, let's start taking out the subtotals. Here there are no subtotals, so it's okay. It will I will show you how it works with subtotals after. No. And take out the totals. When you update, so it stop adding actual and target, and you stop adding the total of all indicators at the end. So here you have by month and by office the data that was entered. But this is a bit misleading because you can see that targets were entered in August, but you have actuals to Lombard entered in June. So it seems that there is missing target and actual because we put first the date and then the office. So if you come back on layout, you can change it by taking the period and dragging it down the organization unit, for example. Then here I have for Lombard office per month what was entered as data. So you can see that the education total beneficiaries, that is this one. Target was entered in August, but we have the actuals entered in June. We have here the actuals in April, in March. So most likely the targets and actuals were entered correctly. One way that you can have, if you need to see the total, completely total of target and actuals for Lombard office, is again on the layout. You just move the periods to the top. So this will add the year. And when you update here, then you can do targets against actual for each one of the Iraq offices. So playing with the layout will give you different tables. So I have my table per office for this year, the total beneficiaries per core competency, and actually I want it for my dashboard, assuming I do. Then I will come here on favorites, I will open and I will save. When I click on save, I have the option to give a name. It's important to give a name you can recognize. So I will put IQ, that is Iraq code, and I will say beneficiaries per core competency and location, for example. And I save it. So once it is in my favorite, actually, every time I open it, I will have the updated data. And if I want to know when was the last update for the data in GORS, because you enter data on the data entry form, and it takes a while to update in the system. And if you want to see if no data you enter is in the system, you can click here on About, and you see time since the last data update. It was 9 hours. So what I entered yesterday is appearing here, but what I entered today is not. We will change the number of updates today, per day in the future, but because we had some problems with GORS last week, we are doing at the present the update only once per day. So always check About, and then you can see last time the data was updated. So I have this one saved, meaning I can use in my dashboard. What else I want to have in my dashboard? This will be up to me to choose. So, any questions before I do other tables? Please feel free to raise your hand or ask a question on the chat. So what I did here, you can see that I choose a period of time that go from January to August. It means that my data will be fixed on this period of time. And for my dashboard, maybe it's better for me to, instead of having the data like this, to choose the data this year. It means that in September, it will update and include the month of September. And then I take out this one, otherwise it will give me both and my dashboard will be wrong. So by changing from every month to this year and updating, I will have the same figures, but it will keep updating. 2019 data will keep appearing. So I modified it, I need to save. So I saved, and my IQ beneficiary per core competence and location will reflect this year data, meaning that in March next year will be 2020 data. So it will keep always on the this year, whenever it is. So now I wanted to create a new one. So I will take different indicators because I want to do a rich dashboard. So I will do now education dashboard. So I take out the indicators I had here, and I will select the education, global mandatory indicators for education. The easiest way is using the filter. Sorry, when you reselect, you need to put the data element. You need to select output again. Or wanting education, I can go here and see what are the options. Oh, I have education here. So my education indicators will appear. Here I have the global donor, GD indicators. I have the global indicators, and I will have the harmonized indicators also. So if you use the filter here and you put GL, you will have only the global. If you put GD, you have the donor indicators. And if you put HL, you will have the harmonized indicators. As the harmonized indicators started now, I doubt we have any data on it, so I will go for the GL indicators. And I don't know exactly which indicators have data, so I will first start putting all indicators to see what have data. Because I'm taking all indicators, I can keep the organization unit. So if I do here and I update, then I will have all education indicators in 2019 that were reported by office. So by doing like this, you can see the target report, the actuals It's still to be reported because it depends the project also, but they enter the target at the beginning. And here we have for all offices, the Hooked, Bill, Mosul, all data they enter in education indicators. I can also look for the data global and for the country, aggregating it at the country level. So here, instead of facility level, I unclick this one and I choose country. When I update, I will have not anymore the units, but the country. You see the list got shorter and is adding up the data entered for learners enrolled in each one of the offices in Iraq. So my dashboard is more generic or more specific. This will choose. So if I was working only on Mosul, or I wanted to monitor the work in Mosul, then I would choose it only for Mosul. If I want to see in Iraq how much they are reporting, I go to Iraq level. I modified my table, so I come in the favorite. If I click on save, I will delete this one. I need to save as because this one is a new one. So this is not any more beneficiaries per core competency, but these are education indicators. So I'll put education, and I'll put education all because they are all indicators. And I will save. So we can see that once it finishes save, the name will change here on the top, and I have my table for education all. This means that whenever I come to my pivot tables and I open my favorites, open, and I search by name, and I look education all, it will update the data and show the latest numbers. Like these, those I did yesterday actually. So these are all tables I have in my Iraq pivot table accounts. So the one I did today, you can take for the last update, the beneficiaries per CC and location. If I open it again, and if they're past, if I had my data updated, it would change here. So to create your dashboard, you need to create table by table in the pivot table, and then you will import it on the dashboard. So now what I wanted to do, actually, I will take this one. I will create a chart. So then I click on chart. I can go to chart, so I can open this table as a chart. This one may be tricky because I have lots of variables, but yes. So this one, what they did, because since I have lots of indicators, it added up the indicators and it gave me the total of all core competencies added up per office. So this one actually don't tell me a lot about it. So, or I have to reduce my table. So if I go back to table, open this chart as a table, I can modify my table to show some data that is useful. Because I went on the charts and they added all the indicators, you can see that the indicators are on the top. So I need to change the layout or open again the one I saved before. The data moved from here to here. So I will move it back here. I will move organization unit to the top. So this now is adding up all the offices, and I have all the different core competencies. So if I go for a chart now, because the chart is better in two variables, so I have the figures, actual and target, by each one of the indicators. If I open this table as a chart now, I will have the different core competencies, actual and target. So it does my chart directly. If I had only actual or target, I could modify here and do a pie chart, for example. I can do a trend line if I want by clicking on different possibilities here. The program will always propose you the chart that make more sense by the structure of the data. Once you agree, okay, I like this chart actually, then you can click on favorite and you will save your chart. So this will be a chart. It's important to be consistent with the name. So I will start with IQ for Iraq, chart beneficiaries per core competency. You can add a description if you want. If you are sharing with other people, it's important to have a description. Then you save it. Wow, we have our first chart. Now I want to go back to table because I want to do a different chart. I want to do a pie chart. I want to see the proportion per core competency in Iraq. So I can start again, putting one by one, data element group, or I can come here and open. I will go to the one I created a little bit earlier today. Oh, sorry. Don't press the enter directly, okay? Because then it will open the first one. You need to enter IQ because I'm using this name in all, and then select one, otherwise it will open the first one. So I had my last update, beneficiaries per CC and location. So if I take this one and I wanted to make a pie chart, I need to take someone out of it because there are too many elements for a pie. So I will do this one. I will do at the country level. I will take out facility level. I want to keep the indicators, but I want only the actuals. So I take out the target and I update here. So here now I have different core competencies and how many beneficiaries we have. So I can do a pie chart of this one. So since I modified it, I come in favorites and I have to save as. If I save it, I will delete this one I did before. So this is beneficiaries per CC. And for me to remember, I put pie. So I know that this one is to create my pie chart. And then I save it. Once I save it, I come on charts, open this table as a chart, and I wait. Okay, so it opened this bar chart here, but actually I want this one. And what it did, it added the beneficiaries and kept Iraq as the main thing. I want to change, so I go in layout, I move data here, and organization unit move to the top directly because I can have only one element here and one element here if I want to do a pie. Oh, this is a beautiful one, you see. I don't know if we can choose the color though, but here I have the proportion of each core competency so that you can see that WASH has a really large proportion. When you see the beneficiaries compared with other non-CC, this normally is multi-purpose cash, or ICLA is much less ICLA, is much less food security. We have more education, camp management, and WASH than the other core competencies. I like this pie, so then I come here and I save up. There is no title here, it was not saved before. So let's keep consistent, start with IQ, beneficiaries, oops, per core competency, pie. So I know it's the pie. I save it, my pie is saved. I will create a last one and then we can go and create the dashboard. So I will go to pivot table because it's a new table that I will be creating now. So I'm starting from beginning. Indicators, no, because I'm still in outputs. So data elements, the group. I will put output because I want one specific. I want the total unique beneficiaries. That is the GLX1, but is the one without a letter for the core competency. So it's this one that I want. I click here or I double click. I have this one selected. Period. I don't want the last four cores. I want this here. Because I want this one to be a dynamic table that I can use during the full year to see how the total unique beneficiaries is being reported. And this one actually, I will. So again, because I start again, I need to see, I can choose here, or I can click here. Oops. Houston. I can click on the settings, select levels, and this one, actually I want to create a map, facility level. So I want every office to see what they reported as a unique beneficiaries per location. I want only the actuals, because if I put actual and target, most likely to add up. We can test it, and I will update it. You see, by default, the location appear on the top. It means that is adding up the location. The year appear here as a line, and the indicator appears as a column. Go in my layout. I want to see organization unit per organization unit. The period for me is indifferent because it's the full year, and I want actual and targets. Data, I have only one indicator, so it can stay as a column, or I can put it here because there's only one indicator. This will make it easy if I want to make a whatever chart. So for example, if I want to make a pie chart, it will show me the proportion of each organization unit on the total unique beneficiaries. If I want to make a map, also it will simplify by doing like this. And I update it. So now I have the total unique direct beneficiaries in Iraq by the different offices that reported it, and the total here. So if I want, I can click on options and hide empty rows. Then this will hide the Baghdad and Sula. I lost the name, or I can keep it. This is in a so small table. You can choose what you prefer. And I need to save it because it's on title, so this one is not saved. So favorites, save, Iraq, total. I will put the code for me is easy, GLX1 per location. For example, you choose the name you find that makes sense, and I save. It means that every time I come in the favorites and open, this one will be updated to reflect the data entered. Remember to check when was the last time before getting nervous that your data is not visible. And I will go for a map. Oh, so open this table as a map. And here you will see the proportion with respect to how much data was entered. So the bigger one is Anbar office. And then the second one will be Mosul. Then we have Kirkuk, Erbil, and Dohuk. And here you have the color coding by the number of beneficiaries. So we have one that has between 129 and 157. We have none on these categories here, and then we have one with between this number of beneficiaries and these, and you have the three smaller offices that are these three here. I have my map. I go in favorites, add new, and I will create a new favorite that will be IQ total beneficiaries map. Create. So now I have my map here. You can make prettier names, but if I spend all the time writing the name, isn't interesting. Now I think I'm ready to go for a dashboard. Then I need to go home. Let's go home. And I need a little bit of water. So anyone has any question up to now? Okay, I assume there is no question, so let's go. Here I am on my default desktop. that there are some global data that is by default, but it's not completely updated. This is a good reminder that we should do that. And by default, we will have education indicators with the data and some pre-selected indicators. But I want to do my own. So you see, I was doing my homework here. I did a Iraq test yesterday, but this one I will delete. So if I click and manage, I can change, rename, I can add some text to it, or I can delete. So it disappeared from a selection here. So back to the global help desk here. I showed you before that there is here is how to use a pivot table. I passed through everything I was showing you here, and here there is the dashboard guidance. So the dashboard guidance will show you each one of the components of your dashboard. So here you have the possibility to add a new dashboard. You have the possibility of manage it, that is changing the name or deleting a dashboard. I just deleted one, you saw. I can share the dashboard with different groups in my country office. So if I am creating an education dashboard, I can share with everybody that is part of the education group user in GORS. See more dashboards. When you have too many dashboards, you navigate with these buttons. The current dashboard will be marked in gray, can be the first one or whatever one, and you always have access to all available dashboards here. Here you have more details if you want to create how to add, but this we will do direct in GORS now. So I am in the main dashboard. I want to add my own homemade tailored dashboard. So I click on add. I start by a name. One important thing to know here is that the dashboards will be alphabetically. So if you want this dashboard to appear before, then you need to put A. If you put a double A, depending on the letter that comes after, it will be before or after the welcome. So if you put a triple A, you are sure that your will be the first. So I will put AAA, I will call it Iraq Global. So this, by this I mean that is the full country office aggregated data. You choose your names depending on what you are doing here. Oh, so here I have my Iraq Global, and you can see that is empty. So I need to add things here. Gosh, now I have a blank. So to add it, I need to search what I want to add. So we'll go in the search here, and I want to add my map. So then I put IQ, and it will show me everything that has IQ, including name of people. So I can choose a chart, I can choose a map, I can choose tables. You can see there is some stuff here I didn't make, some stuff I did. So charts here, I have my beneficiaries per core competency pie. So let's imagine I want to see what I'm doing. So I come here and I can see, oh yes, is this one I want to add. So I go back to my dashboard. I do it again. I did this mistake many times. So if you click enter, it will, if you click on the chart or in the table, it will open the chart or the pivot table. But if you want to add, you need to come here. So it was beneficiary per CC, and you click on add. And it should add it here. Let's just wait it to charge. While waiting, let's add other stuff. So I had my pie chart and I had my map. Oh, I did it again. You see, I click on the name, it opened my map, but actually I want to add this map on my dashboard. Oh, now we can see it. So because the name is so large, the pie becomes quite small. So you can resize it. and then the pie become larger. Now I was to add my map. So let's do it again. If you click here, like I did twice, it will open the map or the chart. You need to remember to click on add. So total beneficiaries map, I want to add this one. So now I have my map and I have my chart that it say for the full country, the beneficiaries per core competency. Here we can see the proportion of the total beneficiaries, and here the proportion of each core competence on the country program. I can add the tables, so I'm still with my IQ there. I search. I could add the tables with unique beneficiaries, the table for education. I could add also the charts with beneficiaries per CC, per core competency. That is this one. So I have already 3 charts. I will resize this one. We cannot choose the size. You can only resize to make it larger or resize to make it smaller. Oh, even larger. Yes. So this one is first time I see with 3 possibilities. So here you can read all indicators, actual and targets. You have the map and you have the proportion only for actuals. So the title is the title we gave to the pie or to the chart. So here, actually, I don't feel like sharing with my country director a BNF versus a pie. So I can go on, can I? Explore. And then I will have to rename it here. Favorites, rename. So Iraq, then because I want to share it, I will do it nice. Total beneficiaries per core competency, and I will take out pie. So it will be prettier. I update it. Sometimes it takes a while, and when it takes too long, I just click on refresh, because sometimes it just stay here, but when you refresh it, it's good. If not, it's saved anyway. So here is good, total beneficiary per CC. So let's go to my dashboard and see how it appeared there. Oh, it's better like this. I think my country director will prefer. So this is creating a dashboard with maps. If I want to add a second one, I can add a second one. And then will be for education, because I made this list with all indicators for education, for example. Then I want it to be, so it will be Iraq education. If I do like this, most likely it will appear before the global, because it's alphabetically. So I am here, so I can manage, I can rename. So if I want, I need to put a letter that will make it the second, or what I can do is go on this one and rename this one. Most likely it will be enough. Rename, yes, so Iraq, that is the global one, is the first one. Now I can go on education, I search for what I want to put here. I go for my table. I did a table for education, didn't I? Oh, sorry. Yes, so education, all. I click here. Oh, I did it again, sorry guys. So go back home. If you click, it's good if you want to check. So here I have all indicators for education on Iraq. Let me see one thing. Yeah, there are no empty rows, but let's say that I want this one because it's how you do the compliance. So it's a good table. I go back home. Home is the dashboard. I search again, so I can do education maybe. Yes, here I see some that are irrelevant for me. Okay, when you click see more hits, you can see everything. I want this one. Oh, I need a coffee. Again, it's good because by me doing mistakes, you may not do the same because it's quite annoying. So here education is not appearing, see more hits. Here is education. Oh. Any questions? Again, no, I'm doing this only for you to, I almost did now. Click on add, my table will appear here. And I will resize because it's a big table, so I want this dashboard to be only this table, but we need just wait a bit for this one to charge, or we try refreshing it. No, this will have to wait. Voila. So here's my table. It's a bit cramped. Let's resize it. Oh, so now I have my full table here. I think it would be better to have less indicators, but to do it so I need to go back to the pivot table. I can go to the back to pivot table, click in here, and I can create a new education table. I can create per project, for example, also if it's relevant to your country office. So data element, I want output, or no, sorry, I want education, because then I just, sorry, click it wrong, education here, and then I can see, okay, what I want enrollment. So here I just wrote enroll for enroll, enrollment, enrolled. So it showed me everything that is available on this area, including harmonized indicators. I want those that are global. So let's see what this one shows me. I don't want, this is default and I found a bit annoying, but I cannot change it. I want this here. I will keep on the country level, this one. I want, remembers always actual and targets. This is really important. It's not to be annoying, but so let's see what this one shows me. You remember that here on the data I have lots of indicators, and in the layout indicators, but the data by default is in column. I will update only for you to see how ugly it is. It's completely useless. It's difficult to view. So change the layout for the data to appear in the rows. But at least here you can see this is subtotal. So if you go in options, you can take out the subtotals. That is what the one I tried to show before, but I missed. So row subtotals will add the row, column subtotals add the columns. Sorry, this is different in the app. It's important to remember. I want to take out the subtotal that is adding elements in the same row. I don't have a subtotals on the same column. I will leave it because I will show you after what it is. I don't want the total neither because it's adding all the target and actual. Okay, let me show you what it is. The total here will be adding everything. You see, so I have the total here. And this number has no sense for us. So I can come in options and I can take out the total. I'm leaving this on because I want to show you how it appears. So, okay, I have something happen. I want to change the layout and then I will see if it will correct. I will put the data here. The period is this here, so I can put it on the top. And I did it in country level, so I can leave the organization unit on the top. Oh, now I have a more structured table for the country office. But I want to work a little bit more on this. You see that I don't have the column adding here. I don't have adding the line here because it makes no sense to add up those indicators. And I have some indicators that are not part of Iraq program. So I will hide empty rows because this one is not relevant for me. So the empty rows disappear because those indicators are not reported. I want to make something with it. So I have to save. But this one, actually, I want to add some other stuff to it. So I wanted the disaggregation by sex, and I update here. The disaggregation by sex come automatic on the columns. You get used to it. Update, and now I have male and female for each one of these indicators. If I want to add the projects, then I will get a bit more. Sometimes it crash, so let's see how it will go. Here I have all Iraq projects, but that are in the system. I don't know which projects has education, so I will select all. I click on the double arrow, everybody's here. Remember to look in layout. Oh, the project appear as a column. It will get messy. Let's put it as a line, but I want it before the data. For example, we can choose the order we want. So here I have all the projects that have education indicators and how much was reported on the projects. So we can see there are two indicators here. For OSHA that have no actual, there are only the target reported. I go on the options, you see I have a show row subtotals. Here is doing the subtotals, adding the row elements. So it's adding actual and target for this indicator. And this I don't want because it's a wrong number that has no meaning for us because we cannot. Oh no, sorry, this one I want. Sorry, it's not adding actual and target, it's adding male and female, so it's giving my total actual and my total target. If it was like this, then would it be adding actual and target for female and actual and target for male, and then I would not want. But when you come back in the layout and you put first actual and target and then the sex, then the total will be the total for this indicator, here adding male and female. And this one makes sense. So when you produce a chart, table, it's important to see what the total is adding. And if the person reading it will not be misinformed by not knowing these small details. Then I will save because this one was not saved, is on title, favorite, save. You use a save as when you modify a table. You use a save when you are creating. So IQ enrollment per project. Project. I did a double L here. It seems that it wants a simple one. Hello. Voila. And I save it. I go back to my dashboard. I want to add this one for my education dashboard. So I search it here, and if everything goes okay, I will click on add instead of clicking. It doesn't appear here, so see more hits. IQ enrollment per project. Don't click here, remember me. Add. Ta-da! So I will resize it. I want to read everything, you know. Yeah. But first I want all indicators. Then I move it to the top. So I have my dashboard here. It's done. I can share it by clicking on share, and then I will decide to whom I will share. So in my case, I need this. You need to know which groups exist, but I can put, if I put IQ users, I will be sharing with all users in Iraq. I don't want to do that because actually I'm in the real GORS and I'm really creating it. I'm not sure if my Iraq colleagues, they want it to be shared. So I can share with people. So I could share with, whoops, I could share with Ruth, and then I will look, oh, she's here. Then I can add her by clicking on the plus. I'm telling her she can view, but maybe she can edit and view. So she can have some fun later on. And Ruth, since she's regional in Miro, she has access to Iraq data anyway. And I save this. And then Ruth will be able to see in this available desktop, she will see my Iraq education. If you don't see Ruth, it could be because if you look, if I reduce my window here, I needed to use these arrows to see the other dashboards. Okay, so I will share with you also the first one I created. Since you have access to the data, I go and share, write her name, add, and I want to give her edit and view. Save. So if you cannot see Ruth, then please do a service request for me and we can solve the issue. Now I'm getting tired of my own voice, so please, I would like you to ask questions and tell me if it showed you how to create a dashboard, if you need more information. Am I alone?
Hi, Erica. I have a question.
Yes, please.
So when I open my dashboard, I actually see there's a lot of pages already created, and there's a lot of there's a lot of dashboards there. Actually, I would rather start with a blank page. I don't want dashboards from other people. I would rather clear everything and then just start with the ones that I'm going to create. Is that possible, or do I have to see what everything is already there? Because some of them are like 2017, very specific to a particular programmatic area. I'm not interested in that.
Here you can see also is 2017. So what I understand here, but I haven't tested this one, is, for example, I click on this one. Global direct beneficiaries by user current year. I click on manage.
Yeah, the manage isn't available, and then also when I click on remove, nothing happens.
Yes, so as I said, I didn't test this one. It seems I can delete only the one I created. So I will, most likely I have to take it out from you. So I will have a look on this one, because these are global dashboards that were created by default some time ago, and they were not updated. So we have to update it. So here the data is updated, but the indicator may not be, because this is from 2017. So here we have some indicators that are the new indicators, you can see by the code. And this one is an old one that was not being reported. So we would have to update the global charts. But because it's global, I have to take out the access, me or Himanshu. So I will have a look on this one for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, someone else would like to be excluded from the pre-made dashboards, just please send me a message and I can do that. Any other question? Just let me see one thing here. Yeah, the remove option. Let me see. No, it's not working. Okay.
So people who are users in a particular area of it, or who are a user within a particular core competency, they will only see their own data according to their location and their core competency. Is that correct?
Normally, when we create profiles, we give the view access to the full country.
I see.
For example, this user I created here, I cannot enter data with this one. This is the dashboard training, so it's only for dashboard. So if I go in the data entry form here, I will have no access to any data set, so I cannot enter data. So there are lots of users that they will have only the access to see data. Normally, if we give access to the area managers or head of program, will be the viewing access, because this was before Power BI. So we had the idea of creating these dashboards for all different levels. But the dashboards in Power BI are a little bit more rich or more flexible, and people didn't use too much those inside GORS. There are some countries that do, but it's more rare. Normally people has view access to the data in the full country, but they can enter data only on their area.
Okay, great, thanks.
And if it's not the case, then I can modify the profile. But since I started, I gave the access to the full country. Okay. So anyone else has questions? It could not be as clear as this, was it? Okay. So
I have another question, because there's another session running this afternoon,
yes.
at 2:00 Oslo time. Can you tell us what's going to be covered in that session, so that we know whether we should attend both the sessions or whether it will be similar to this one?
Now it will be actually, it's more complementary, because it will be how to use pivot table. Sometimes you need to correct the data in GORS, and you cannot find it on the data entry form, because there is something here with entering data in GORS, is that we have the form, and I choose an office, a data set, a period, and there is the core competency team, and the project number, and if it's actual and target. And to find the data to correct, you need to have exactly the same information. And sometimes we don't find the data. We open the data entry form and the data is not there, but it appears on the pivot table. So what will be in the afternoon will be how you create a pivot table to find out all the information where it was entered, so you can correct the data. So it's a different one. It will be more advanced on pivot table. And I had a list of questions from you to answer also on this, the afternoon one. But it will be recorded, and the most relevant part of it, I may create short videos on how to. So people can use 2 minutes to learn instead of 1 hour, because this I found quite important. So if you cannot join this one, it will be recorded, and later on we'll integrate learning modules. So thank you very, very much for your interest and for being with us today, or for listening to us afterwards. If you have any question, please send me an email or use the resources available in our GORS Global Help Desk. We need your help to build our new knowledge base in GORS inside NRC. So thank you very much, and see you in the afternoon. Bye bye.